Good evening, and thanks for joining us live. I'm Kristen Wan, joined by meteorologist Ricky Matthews and meteorologist Sydney Welch. And the story today is really severe weather throughout our region.
Yeah, so we're watching severe thunderstorm warnings push in, and actually a tornado warning was just issued for portions of Hancock County. Ricky is getting that ready over there on the Facebook Live, but we can zoom in on that. Portions of Hancock County is in a tornado warning starting at New Tazewell. That is where we are seeing the rotation. It is still broad, but it is tightening up just a little bit, as you can see on the velocity. So the green colors.
All right, here's what we'll do. Sydney, why don't you grab the radar there? I'm going to jump on the chroma key.
All right, great.
And you can talk about that.
Okay, so we're watching this broad area of rotation. What this means is the green color is in an arrow going that direction, red color in an arrow going that direction. And since they are so close together, that is where we are seeing a broad area of rotation between New Tazewell and Mason Springs. That has also been issued for portions of Claiborne County in East Tennessee and Hancock County. So this was issued at 5:54 just a few minutes ago, and we are going to continue monitoring that. Ricky, let me know when you're ready over there, and I'll just send it right over to you.
I think we're good. So we can punch up the chroma key, please. And Sydney, I'll take control of graphics 1.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the severe weather that we have moving across the area. And what we've got going on is basically a line of thunderstorms that's advancing off from the south and east. I'm going to widen out everything here and show you what we've got. We've got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings here and then 1 tornado warning. This is not in our immediate coverage area, or what we call our market area, which is why we're not breaking in on television right now, but it's getting very close to our region. So we want to give you a heads up that these storms are moving into areas that are closer and closer to our viewing area. And a lot of you may have friends that live in Hancock or portions of these areas that are under these warnings at this time. So let me pop on where this warning is for. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that is including parts of our region. This is including parts of Hawkins County, also including portions of Lee County. And then this tornado warning right here is the newest warning that just came out. So let's pop on our velocity here. Right there. And what you're going to be looking at, as Sydney was talking about a minute ago, is the green and the red. So here's the green going towards the radar, red going away from the radar. What happens is you get a little bit of a turning right here with the winds, and that's where we're worried about that possible tornado. Now, this warning does not include Lee County at this time, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to advance this off to the north and east around 60 miles per hour, and as we do that, it will be moving into parts of Lee County rather quickly. Now, circulations like this typically don't last very long. The tornadoes that we were possibly going to see today are what we call brief, quick QLCS spin-up tornadoes. Means they're on the ground for a short amount of time. Typically, they're not as strong as some of the supercell tornadoes, but they can still cause damage. So as this advances off to the north and east, that's going to put it into Rose Hill around 612, Lee County Airport around 618, as it continues to advance off to the north and east. This is a radar indicated tornado, which means that no one has seen it yet, but
Hey, Ricky?
yes.
Oh, we're live on your Facebook right now.
Okay.
Would you like to stream that into WCYB, or should we stop this and restart it on CYB?
It should be going to all 3. If not, I'll get it going here in a second. But let's set up that then. Yeah, why don't we get it cross-posted? So, Sydney, why don't you take over for a second? I'll let you talk about what you should do if you're in any of these areas, and we will get this streaming to all the pages as it needs to be.
Which I can do that if we punch up graphics 3 on the quad right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about where you could go in order to make sure that you're safe if you are in the immediate area of this tornado warning, or if you just want to know for future. Lowest floor of an interior room. These green areas are going to be exactly where you want to go, a basement or an interior room. Of that, cover your head. So if you don't have a basement or an interior room, you want to be in a hallway with it yourself secured in a bathtub, something like that, with your head covered, even a mattress in the bathtub. And you want to make sure any mobile homes are evacuated. Anything with the word mobile in it. If you're in a car, if you're in a mobile home, anything, that's not where you want to be during a tornado warning. So you want to make sure that you are safe during that. And as far as apartments, there's some more tips that we can go to for apartment safety. That's going to be Oh, that's a look at the warnings right there. Here's the tornado safety in an apartment. All right, so as far as apartments go, get to the lowest floor. First floor of an apartment, bathroom and laundry rooms are a good place to be. And as we continue that, you don't want to be in any of the upper levels of an apartment building, because the lowest floor is going to be where you want to be. Underground garage, anything underground is definitely good as well. And again, make sure that you protect your head. So what's the latest on?
Yeah, let's come back over to me here and we'll talk about the radar one more time and show you what we've got going on with that. The rotation that we have with this possible tornado that is still south and west of Lee County. It's in portions of moving quickly into Hancock County here. So I'll put the velocity back on, and it's a little bit messier than it was before. You can see as I loop this here over the past 30 minutes that the rotation has weakened a little bit from what it was, and that's going really fast. So we're gonna have to step it back in time a little bit. So here we go, and let's try that. Sometimes computers just don't want to work exactly the way they should. So let's zoom on in once again, and we'll switch it back over to velocity. And as we do that, I'm going to take you back in time. This is right where the tornado warning was issued, right there. And you can see the bright reds and the bright greens coming in that direction. Now I'm going to step you forward a little bit in time and show you what we have now. Notice how the velocity is a little bit weaker on this, and it's not as strong of a circulation as it was before. In addition to this tornado warning, we have a couple other storms that are moving through, and now a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just come out for a large portion of our viewing area, including the Kingsport metro area, areas of Greenville, Baileyton, and Rogersville. This severe thunderstorm warning is due to strong gusty winds. This warning goes until 6:45. What's happening is this entire line has the potential to produce strong, damaging wind gusts as it moves off to the north and east, and inside of it, there's a chance for a quick spin-up tornado. That's why that warning there has been issued in portions of Hancock County. I'm going to zoom into this one more time, and because I really want to get close into where this possible circulation is. And I'm switching between a couple different products here and looking at a few different things and looking to see if there is any what we call debris signature. And it's a little messy. I don't see anything. Possibly this could be something right here, but it's hard to say. It's a little messy based off of where it is. And what the radar is doing in this area is showing you where there could be something that's not rain, not some other type of meteorological phenomenon, and in fact it's more of just lofted tornado debris, like a piece of a home, a tree, or something like that, that's not all one shape like a raindrop or a hailstone would be. So as this storm quickly advances off to the south and north and east, we're going to have to see if the Weather Service decides to continue this tornado warning into Lee County or not. If they do, we will break in on television, but at this time, no tornado warning there. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings, which should be treated just as seriously as a tornado warning with the amount of wind energy that's in the atmosphere today. These storms are racing off quickly to the north and east, around 50 to 60 miles per hour, and just from the forward motion alone, that's going to be the chance to produce some strong gusty winds and potentially even some damaging winds. I want to put a storm track on this, and I want to track the entire strongest part of the line, which is right through here. As we advance it off to the north and east for about the next hour, that's going to put it into Rogersville around 6:16, areas around Greenville around 6:25, areas near the Tri-Cities Airport right close to 6:50, almost near 7 o'clock. Downtown Bristol around 7 o'clock, and Lebanon around 7:07, as this whole line pushes off to the north and east into Norton, Pinnaty Gap, and Clintwood. Now, that's the severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning continues for portions of Claiborne and Hancock County until 6:30 tonight, and they are going to continue that tornado, and they are now calling it a confirmed tornado. So what that means is that what I was showing you a minute ago, that little possible area of debris, was actually debris right through here. So it's right there where the Weather Service and the radar is honing in on the possibility of a tornado being on the ground with this as it moves off to the north and east. So I'm going to put a very detailed storm track on this. It's going to move just south of Ewing, just south of Rose Hill, and kind of moving really close to the Lee County Airport. This is advancing off to the north and east at 50 miles per hour. So I want to make sure we get an accurate timing on this. And once again, sometimes these circulations don't last very long. Sometimes they are very short-lived, but as they move off to the north and east, they can cause a good amount of damage. So we're looking towards Sulphur Hollow School, 612, Thompson Mill around 615, Sunnyside School, 617, the Wilson Hill area around 622, 625, Carroll Mill, Lee County Airport, 627. And this is for the storm that's moving towards Lee County. Sydney, anything?
Hey, yeah, Ricky, I can take it over here talking a little bit more about tornado safety, and then I can go into the radar yet again, if you'd like me to. All right, so tornado safety. I went over this just a little bit in the beginning, but I don't know if the Facebook Live caught it or not. Make sure you are in the lowest floor of an interior room. Cover your head and evacuate any mobile homes. Get to a secured structure if you are in this tornado warning. It is a confirmed tornado, so be sure that you are in your safe place at this time. Of course, I'm having a little bit of clicker problems. Let's click on to the next graphic. All right, so let's take a look at the radar. What we're seeing right now on the wide scale is going to be for the tornado warning remains in effect until 6:30. Now, as this system heads, just the entire strong line heads towards the north and east, Rose Hill will be seeing impacts by 6:08. This is not only the tornado warning, this is the entire system of heavy rain. 617 for 622 for Jonesville, Pennington Gap 628, Burgoynesville 633, and 638 for Volunteer High School. So do be aware that there is heavy rain headed your way, and there is a confirmed tornado on the ground that is moving within the tornado warning for portions of Hancock County. I'm going to send it back over to Ricky to go over that a little bit more.
Thank you, Sydney. Yeah, we're continuing to monitor this whole line of storms as it races off to the south, to the north and east from the south and west. Let's see. We got two different computers fighting over the same things here, Sydney. So let me take control of that again. As she was mentioning, where you want to go in the event of a tornado: lowest part of your home, center part of your home, cover your head with pillows, blankets, or use a blanket or a helmet. If you have any type of helmet, a motorcycle, bicycle helmet, something like that, that can significantly reduce your risk of injury in a tornado. Now, this tornado warning is still in effect until 6:30, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be way out of Hancock and Claiborne counties here before 6:30. In fact, it's quickly moving into Lee County. Here's where the circulation was. I'm going to step you back in time a little bit, and this has become much weaker than it was before. The tornado warning remains in effect for Claiborne and Hancock counties, but I'm not as concerned as I was, let's say, about 15 to 20 minutes ago. And the reason is because the rotation's a lot more broad. Look right through here. I'm going to step you back one more time and show you what we had right north and east of the 25E markers. See those bright colors there? That was right when the warning initially came out. Here's what it looks like now. It's advanced off further north and east. Still some circulation right through here, but not as strong as it was earlier. Still a storm you want to certainly respect as it moves north and east. So if I lived in portions of southern Lee County, kind of between Ewing and the Lee County Airport, I would think about where I'm going to go in the event of this storm producing a tornado moving into your area. And it's going to be moving there rather quickly. The Weather Service saying that this tornado was likely a quick, brief spin-up tornado. Didn't last very long. Debris was only lofted around 4,000 to 5,000 feet. And we've got some research that shows us that when tornadoes loft debris that high, typically they're on the weaker scale, but certainly any tornado can cause damage. So as this moves off north and east, Beech Grove School, Lee County, McClure's Chapel, Carroll Mill, Flatwoods Elementary School, all those areas are where we're going to be concerned about this circulation getting close to you. And you're certainly going to be wanting to seek shelter as the storm advances off to the north and east. I want to kind of reset everything. It is 6:09, and what we've got going on is 2 severe thunderstorm warnings and 1 tornado warning at this time. Still briefly outside of our viewing area, but on the internet as we're streaming on Facebook Live, that don't matter. Anyone can watch anywhere in the world when we get storms like this moving through. So I want to show you the warnings that are in effect right now. I'm going to show you it on a different map just to kind of give you a brief overview. So Lee County, Hawkins County, Greene County, the western portion here, Washington County, and basically from Kingsport south and west, that's where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now. The slither here of Hancock County and also Claiborne County, that's where we have that tornado warning that's in effect, and that goes until 6:30, but I do expect them to probably drop that early or continue to advance it off to the north and east. We'll have to see what the Weather Service does. Now, those are the warnings that we have in effect right now. Here is the radar and what it looks like right now. And it's a little messy, I know, because we've got a lot of rain and a lot of storms advancing off north and east. I call them storms. We turn on the lightning, and you notice not a ton of lightning with this. Most lightning strikes are down to the east of Knoxville and not so much in our area. And this is not that uncommon with winter-type setups like this. A lot of times we don't get a lot of lightning with thunderstorms as we typically would expect to see in the summertime. Weather Service continuing that tornado warning all the way to the Lee County line. They're not yet.
Claiborne County has now been
They dropped Claiborne
canceled.
County.
Yep,
okay,
they dropped
good.
Claiborne County out that
Seems
way.
like they're not sold on issuing it for Lee County yet, and I don't blame them. Their circulation's a little broad there, but certainly still bears watching. So that's probably one of the smallest tornado warnings I've seen in a little bit here. Let me turn off the all the radar data and just show you where this warning is. So there's the warning. This is Hancock County. There's Lee County, south of Rose Hill, and there's where the warning is for. This goes until 6:30, and the circulation basically moving quickly into Lee County is almost right over the line right now. We'll flip the radar back on and show you what it looks like and get down to street level here. So Wilson Hill, Flatwoods Road, the old Nursery Road area, that's going to be where the circulation is going to be getting close. So if you live in Ed's Mill in Lee County, not under warning at this time, but treat it as you are, because these storms are quickly advancing off to the north and east, and it won't be long before this storm is into Lee County, and we'll see if we get a new warning with it or not. Here is Ewing, all right? The circulation will go east of Ewing. It'll go basically right over Ed's Mill and maybe just west or right very close to Wilson Hill, a little too close for comfort if I lived there. For where this storm is at now. Here is the Lee County Airport. Here is, I do not know how to say that, I apologize, Hennikertown? We're going to go with it. And here is Rose Hill. So circulation will go east of Ewing, east to Rose Hill, and basically move right through here at Ed's Mill, Wilson Hill, and the Hennikertown area. I will promise to learn that one here as this after this severe weather event concludes. But there's that one circulation. I want to zoom out and do a little bit of analysis just to see if we see any little circulations elsewhere in this line that bear watching. We've got very strong winds working their way into Bulls Gap at this time, basically along Interstate 81 from the exit 23 area, Volunteer Speedway, areas near Pilot Knob, Mossheim. You guys will be seeing those strong gusty winds very shortly. And then all the way north into eventually portions of Kingsport we'll end up seeing this line. So we'll continue to watch that circulation there.
Hey, Ricky, you can flip it over to me. I have a look at some of the cameras
Okay.
over here whenever you're ready. Oh, okay. So let's take a look around the Lee County camera. You can see how heavy this rain is coming down right now. This is right in front of the Lee Theater. Some people trying to exit the theater right there. The rain is really coming down. But as we go towards Volunteer Speedway, this camera isn't a live camera. It gives you glimpses of what it's seeing, and it is seeing the rain as well. This is Volunteer Speedway, exit 23, Bulls Gap, Tennessee. These are portions of the region that are already getting that heavy rain, gusty winds. But as we take a look around Johnson City and Bristol Motor Speedway, not yet seeing any type of rain yet. Still seeing the gusty winds because those have been coming through most of the day. But as far as any type of thunderstorm winds causing that, we're not seeing that quite yet. But that will be pushing in our direction. And Ricky, we can send it back to you at any time.
Yeah, so a little bit of information from the Weather Service is coming in from one of their ham spotters. We talked about that tornado warning that is still in effect till 5:30, and where we a little bit ago had that confirmed tornado pop up. What we've got going on now is earlier in Claiborne County near Cedar Fork Road, there's been some damage reported there. A brief touchdown reported by ham radio and relayed over to the National Weather Service. We're still watching to see if they're going to continue this into Lee County or not. If they're going to, they need to issue that warning very soon. And so I'm going to assume they're not going to, but hey, we'll stick here with you and see if the Weather Service decides to issue that warning into parts of Lee County. The circulation has certainly become a lot more broad than it was earlier. So let's kind of focus our attention away from that tornado warning and more so on the severe thunderstorm warnings that we've got in effect right now, because that's going to be the thing that's going to impact a lot more people as this entire line advances through the area. So I want to loop the radar and show you what we've had here over the past hour. This entire line, in fact, let's go back even further. Let's go back 3 hours and zoom it out a little bit. And notice how this line has moved all the way from central Tennessee near Crossville east into our area, and now getting closer into the Tri-Cities area with the potential to produce strong gusty winds. This line is the same storm system that you may have heard about or seen on social media over the past 24 hours. It caused some extensive damage in Louisiana, parts of Alabama. The risk not as severe here in terms of the amount of damage that we could see, but there is the potential for strong gusty winds and the potential for the heavy rainfall and even a couple lightning strikes as this storm system pushes through. So let's put another storm track on this for you. In addition to the main line, there is a little bit of some heavier rain here near Kingsport. If you're seeing that right now, that is not the strong winds that we're talking about. That is just where we've got the potential of some heavy rain coming down. I'm going to put another storm track on this and advance it off to the north and east. I want to make sure I got the right speed on this. So this is moving northeast at 55. I have it a little fast, so I'm going to redraw this for you. We had it going at 70. The line has slowed down just a little bit. And here we go. So we'll advance that off to the north and east. I'll pop this back over the other side so I can see the numbers better. And we'll talk about what we've got. So Bulls Gap, 618, Rogersville, 626, Churchill, 644, Jonesboro, around 655, Tri-Cities Airport area, exit 63, 7:03 p.m., right around 7 o'clock tonight. Downtown Bristol around 7:15, Cleveland in around 7:26, and Abingdon area around 7:32 as this entire line pushes off to the north and east. That's the severe thunderstorm warning that we have. Let's jump back the tornado warning real quick because they've left it in effect, but the circulation is way outside of that area now. So what rotation that we have left is now actually into Lee County here. It is a lot broader than it was, but it's just the west of Lee County Airport, east of Rose Hill, east of Ewing, and that's where we have that bit of rotation that's now weakened a lot from what it was earlier. So I'm not as concerned about that area as I was, but certainly still some strong gusty winds possible down in those areas as this line moves through. Some of the stronger winds being indicated now on radar are down into parts of Greene County and also into western portions of Hawkins County, just between Bulls Gap, Warrensburg, heading towards Mossheim, heading towards Rogersville, heading towards Baileyton, up Interstate 81. If you're coming from Knoxville, heading towards Bristol or heading towards Kingsport, that's kind of what these storms are doing. They're racing basically at interstate speeds, north and east, towards Baileyton and Mossheim. So it won't be too long before these storms move into your area with the potential to produce those strong gusty winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour. So here's what we're going to do. We're on Facebook, so things are a little bit more relaxed than it would be during a typical newscast. Kristen, I know we've got some video from other parts of the state as well, so why don't we, up in the control room, get those ready to go. I'll talk a little bit more about what we've got going on. They have canceled that tornado warning that was in effect now for Claiborne and Hancock County, so some great news there. The Weather Service believing that all the risk for any type of tornado has dropped and diminished across those areas, and we wanted to give you a heads up as it possibly moved into Lee County, that those storms were moving into there. So Kristen, I'll come over here and join you in the quad screen, and we'll talk a little bit about what we had going on earlier today. And some of these videos that you guys have collected upstairs are from other parts of the country, but the same storm system kind of impacting us now.
Right, that's right. So we've seen severe weather damage all across our country, really. This one from Arkansas late last night, damaging multiple homes in Logan County. Officials say one home was reduced to its foundation, debris littered the lot where the home stood, and then another nearby mobile home was torn in half during the storm. Which
is exactly why we tell people, hey, don't stay in mobile homes during tornadoes. They're great for low-cost living, but unfortunately, you know, as some of these images show, the winds in a tornado can just quickly rip those mobile homes apart, and that's typically where we see most of the injuries and fatalities sometimes.
Right. And our next video, this one I think from the Houston area overnight, causing damage and power outages. The strong winds there gusting up to 60 miles per hour, knocked down a metal canopy at a gas station, and then nearby a giant tree actually fell on a home. Officials say the homeowners and their infant daughter were not injured in that, though, which is really good. And don't forget, you know, also something that we want to mention during these severe storms and everything, we want to see your pictures. So of course, send those to us on Chime In. We've been looking at those photos multiple times today to see if we can use any of them on air and on Facebook.
And that's one of the best ways for us to kind of try to tell the weather story. You know, we've got cameras, we've got radar, but a lot of times you can't know exactly what's going on down at surface level until you get a report or a picture or something like that. So we do appreciate everyone who sends us pictures. WCYB.com/chime in. That's the place to do it, to send us pictures or videos. So do we have the wildfire stuff too?
We do, but we also have I know we have a fire in Carter County. I don't know if we can get those pictures up there or not.
Besides weather, there is a little bit of news today, huh?
Yes, there is news, but this is one person, you know, was taken to the hospital after a house fire in Carter County today. It happened at the 600 block of Tiger Creek Road. Firefighters say the home was extensive damage, and there's no word on the condition of the person taken to the hospital there. So
hopefully everything.
Right, lots of fires today too. And crews in Scott County are working to put out a forest fire. This is a picture from that in the Copper Creek Road area. According to the EMA director there, Jeff Bricky, the fire started after high winds blew a power line into a telephone line, causing the electricity to arc and start the blaze. So they're saying the Virginia Department of Forestry is actually on scene trying to extinguish those flames.
We had a lot of gusty winds earlier today, and still some gusty winds. Let's bring Sydney in here, because Sydney, you've got some new information, a new warning that came out.
Yes, so the new warning that just came out, we can pull up graphics behind us, graphics 3 behind us. It actually has included portions of Wise County and Scott County right now, and that is including a portion of Gate City. So Big Stone Gap included in this, Pennington Gap, Jonesville now included in a severe thunderstorm warning. It's time to get to your safe place, folks. Cumberland is also actually right outside of that warning. We're seeing Sneedville still in the warning, along with Rogersville and Kingsport as well. Now this is moving towards the north-northeast at 55 miles per hour, so it's actually cruising pretty quickly, but that's going to be not very good as far as those wind gusts are concerned. We're still seeing very gusty winds, and now the added impact of seeing downburst winds within these thunderstorms as they head overhead. So while you see the heaviest rain, there is that potential for some downburst winds to come out of the thunderstorm and actually cause some damaging wind gusts as well. So along with that, this is expected to damage roofs, sidings, trees. Located in this is Kingsport, Gate City, Sneedville, Jonesville, Big Stone Gap, Pennington Gap, and Weber City. So after Ricky gets a drink of water, I'm sure he has a storm track on this, and he will outline the thunderstorm threat a little bit further.
When you talk for a living, sometimes you got to take a little bit of a break and make sure you can continue talking. So let's draw another storm track on this. Sydney, how fast was that one moving?
55 miles per hour.
55, thank you. So we'll put this one on here and advance it off to the north and east. We'll do a pretty wide storm track. In fact, I'll zoom out. Well, maybe not. We'll pop that back on, and then we'll zoom out a little bit and just kind of give you a very wide view. So all the way up through here. Now these storms are not going to be with us too long. In fact, they'll probably be out of here before 7, maybe 8 o'clock tonight for a large part of our viewing area. But Norton 6:56 is your estimated arrival time. Tri-Cities Airport area around 7 o'clock. Advanced just up a few minutes there. 7:13 into Bristol around 7:15, 7:16 Castlewood, Abingdon around 7:30. Grundy 7:33, and Richlands around 7:49 tonight, as this entire line of strong to severe storms advances off towards the north and east. What should you expect with this line? Well, first off, heavy rainfall. That's going to be the most likely thing that you see. Also, some briefly gusty winds. Not everybody will see strong to severe winds, but some people in these areas will have the potential to receive some wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's capable of downing power lines, trees, and even causing some damage to shingles and siding. Now, if you have any of that occurs at your location, first off, stay safe, okay? Don't send us any pictures until after the storm has passed. I don't need you going outside and risking your life just to send me a picture and get your name on television. But what we do love to see are reports after the storms have come through when you're safe. And any of those pictures can be sent to us at WCYB.com/chime in. In the event that you lose power across the area, there are multiple ways to watch us, not just on television. You've already found our Facebook live stream, but if you are out and about, you can watch on, of course, the Facebook mobile app, but also using our Storm Track 5 app. When we get tornado warnings into the area, we'll live stream on there. And our website is always a great way to track the latest radar and any type of alerts that we've got going on. And our Storm Track 5 mobile app, also a great place to do that. So let's go back to the radar and do a little bit more radar analysis here. The nice thing about doing warning coverage like this, where it's not on TV, is that you can sometimes get a little bit more in depth and dive down right down to the details here and look at these little lines. So what we've got here is this line of storms moving into Greene County and also western portions of Hawkins County from Rogersville all the way south. All right, where 321 comes through Greene County, south and west through Greenville, getting closer to Camp Creek there. And then up 81, getting a new radar scan in here right now, and still strong winds with this. In fact, I want to put a velocity scope on here and just kind of query a few of these totals. And what you're noticing are winds of 60 to 67 miles per hour. Now, not saying that's making it down to the surface, because what the radar is doing is it's sending out a beam that actually goes up at an angle, okay? And so the ground is down here, where my other hand is, and what the radar is sampling is what's above the ground, a couple thousand feet up. And then we use some algorithms to try to translate that down to the surface. And with winds of this magnitude showing up at this altitude, a couple thousand feet up in the atmosphere, we do think there's the potential of some wind gusts 40, 50, maybe close to 60 miles per hour with this line as it moves through. And once again, that can cause some damage in terms of roofs, siding, and trees. Looking at this line just to see if we have any other little indications of circulations. I don't see anything jumping out at me at this time, which is great. We had that tornado warning earlier for parts of Hancock and also Claiborne counties. The Weather Service has allowed that to expire, so no tornado warnings at this time, just a severe thunderstorm warning currently in effect for a large part of our viewing area, basically from the Virginia-Kentucky line all the way south and east. Let's say roughly anyway, pretty close to the Tennessee-North Carolina state line there into Greene County. So Greene County, western portions of Washington County, Tennessee, Kingsport, Mount Carmel, Church Hill, Gate City, areas north as you go into Pinning Gap, all included in this severe thunderstorm warning due to the potential of strong gusty winds.
And Ricky, earlier we saw...
Let's open Sydney's mic. There we go.
Oh yeah, earlier we saw some strong gusty winds as well. If y'all want to pull graphics 3 full, I can look through some of the photos that we've already received on Chime In from those gusty winds that we saw earlier today. So this one is from Hampton Creek Road in Roan Mountain, Tennessee. So that was a tree that actually fell across the road. Current gusts, as far as our weather stations are picking up right now, 27 mile per hour wind gusts for Watauga and 16 mile per hour wind gusts for Hampton, 33 for Elizabethton. You can see the wind gusts really picking up that are towards the east of this system. So locations like Jefferson and Blowing Rock, Roan Mountain, Banner Elk, those places are right now seeing these are not the thunderstorm wind gusts. These are the mountain wave winds that are headed over the mountain areas. So Ricky's back over there. He'll be outlining the severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, and some of the same areas being impacted by those mountain wave winds today are now seeing these thunderstorm winds moving through. And what we've got happening is the wind for those mountain wave winds is coming over the mountain like this in a southeasterly direction, and into parts of Greene County right through here is where we can see those strongest wind gusts. But now, instead of coming from the southeast, we've got storms coming from the southwest advancing up towards the northeast. You ever had a compass, cardinal directions here? It can get fun sometimes. But here's the line of storms moving through Greene County, heading towards Jonesboro, heading towards Johnson City, and heading towards Kingsport. This entire line of storms has potential to produce briefly gusty winds and also heavy rain as it quickly advances off to the north and east. Let's drop down to street level here and pop on a few more roads. There's exit 30, there's Mossheim, there's the Greene County Airport. There's Baileyton Road. A lot of people are familiar with that. One of the other ways you get off of the interstate there and head south into Greene County. So Baileyton Road, Kennytown, Baileyton itself, that's where these storms are advancing off to the north and east, quickly towards Newmansville, Upchurch, along Highway 93 here. That'll be where we see those strongest winds in the next little bit as these storms continue to push off to the north and east. So we'll put a close-up storm track on this right through here. And that'll be moving into areas near the Hawkins County Airport around 6:30. Areas towards Baileyton, 632, Newmansville, 637, so just about 8 minutes before it moves into your neck of the woods. Churchill, 641, into Blair Gap, 644, Mount Carmel, 646, Fall Branch, around 647, and Bays Mountain into Kingsport, right close to 645, 650, as this line pushes off to the north and east. That's the reflectivity you're looking at there. Here's the velocity once again, and I'm just switching through a few different products just to see if we see anything that looks interesting or anything that grabs our attention in terms of some wind shear. Sometimes the radar has a hard time pinpointing exactly where the shear is in setups like this. You got to kind of sometimes just look at the straight velocity data instead. I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out at me that's being overly concerning right now across the area, so that's good. But we'll continue to watch this line as it moves off to the north and east. There's a chance you get a quick spin-up tornado just like we had earlier in parts of Claiborne and Hancock County that can produce some brief damage. We had what was known as a TDS with that storm, or tornado debris signature, and what happens with that is the radar goes up and actually hits things that aren't so much raindrops or hailstones, and it's actually hitting off some pieces of tornado debris that's been lofted by that tornado up to a couple thousand feet up in the air. So what's going to happen now is that in either tomorrow or maybe Monday, the Weather Service will go out there and they will investigate whether that tornado actually touched down in Claiborne County or if it wasn't so much a tornado and just straight line winds that move through those areas. So Sydney, why don't we talk a little bit about what people can do if they've got some pictures they want to send us and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely send us your photos, wcyb.com/chime in. We've received some earlier today of wind damage. This was not thunderstorm related wind damage that we saw earlier today. Locations now that are potentially seeing thunderstorm force winds and things like that are Kingsport, Gate City, Sneedville, Jonesville, Big Stone Gap, Pennington Gap, Weber City. Now, not everywhere seeing the gustiest of winds, but these are all locations within a severe thunderstorm warning, so do be aware and be safe if you are within this thunderstorm warning. For your protection, make sure you move to an interior room. If you are watching this, the lowest floor on a building, these wind gusts can really get you. Sometimes straight line winds and thunderstorm winds can cause just as much damage as rotation can on a low level type of tornado. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible within this system, and you can keep an eye out for locations of downburst winds which could damage roofs, siding, and trees. So this current thunderstorm warning that we're seeing, I'll put a track on that. I think I already have one right here. So as far as timing, we're watching Whitesburg for 646, 702, potentially for the Tri-Cities, Bristol 716, so Tri-Cities Airport would be 702, Castlewood 719, Abingdon 732, Richlands 752, and 802 Marion. So that's how quick it's moving. By 8, it's already going to be in Smith County, moving at 55 miles per hour. This is the heaviest rain that I have a track on. Actually, let's update this track because we just got a new radar scan in. So let me put a new one on there. Still moving at 55 miles per hour. Areas in the Tri-Cities can expect to see this around the 7 o'clock hour, and that's going to be the heaviest portions of rain, which currently is over Jonesville, headed towards Cumberland, headed towards Kingsport, and headed into the Tri-Cities metro area. So keeping a close eye on that as we head into the rest of our evening. In the next hour, really, it's cruising at 55 miles per hour, so that is really going to be the main impacts. As far as any type of rotation, it doesn't look like there is any rotation right now along the line, but still going to watch that very closely as we go through the next few days or the next few hours. Let's watch. Let's see this velocity query. Let's see how gusty we're seeing winds right now. 45 mile per hour winds just south of Jonesville, 27 mile per hour winds. So 64 mile per hour winds near Harlan. This line is really creating some gusty winds. Rogersville, 68 miles per hour just south of Baileyton, 66 miles per hour. This is for portions of Greene County, 72 mile per hour gusts. This is radar indicated, not necessarily all reaching the ground level, but this is what the radar is picking up as the radar beam sends out a signal. It is picking up these wind gusts. So even gusty winds as we head into portions of Smith County, 44 mile per hour gusts outside of this warning 73-mile-per-hour wind gusts for portions of Scott County. So I would be aware of that. This system is moving quite quickly. It's moving at 55 miles per hour. So let's go back to the actual radar and take a look. Heaviest rain, if we go down, let's put this on street level. And get right down there. All right, so heaviest rain headed towards Church Hill. That red color currently in Burgoynesville. Blackwater seeing the heaviest rain as well, headed towards Duffield and Clinchport. Gate City has a few more minutes, but as I said, this is moving very quickly. And then some other areas of heavier rain currently over Big Stone Gap, Norton Wise. Let's get up the Big Stone Gap camera that we have here. Let me pull that up over here because I'm sure that we can, excuse me, it's the Pennington Gap camera that we have, but let me pull that up and see what we're getting as far as rainfall on that camera. It's coming down pretty strong, you can see. This is right in front of the Lee Theater on the Pennington Gap camera. So I had photos up on our system earlier. That's why the heading says photos. This is a live camera over the Lee Theater, and you can see it is coming down fairly hard. So that's going to be the trend, especially for right now the western portion of the region. It is going to be headed towards the metro area very shortly. Baileyton seeing heavy rain right now. It's past Rogersville, but Rogersville is still getting some of that rainfall as well. So if you are within this watch, do be aware of gusty winds being one of the main concerns with this right now. As I just showed you, some wind gusts over 70 miles per hour. Ricky?
Thank you, Sydney. Yeah, let's check in with a few more of our cameras across the area. We'll take a little bit of a camera tour here. I want to show you the Sullivan, Washington County line. It's one of our TDOT cameras located near Ford Town Road. It's about mile marker 55, mile marker 54.8 into these areas. Storm's not reached there yet, at least the strongest winds, but certainly they'll be seeing these storms shortly. We'll go further north and east if our computer wants to cooperate and head towards Fort Henry Drive. There it is, still dry outside right now. And a lot of times I'd be looking at this and trying to see if we have any indications of lightning or anything kind of interesting on the horizon to show you, but unfortunately there's not a ton of lightning with these storms tonight as they move across the area. So pointing our cameras west towards these lines, not going to do a whole lot of good. Let's pop on our lightning tracker, and you'll notice here I can even query how many we've had. This is going to be over the past 15 minutes, and when we look at that, and you notice only 10 lightning strikes in the entire area, basically from Roanoke, Virginia, all the way south and west. As you get into Knoxville, there are a couple of lightning strikes are right down here, but not a ton of lightning associated with these storms, which means what you're going to hear more is the wind as it moves in, and not so much the thunder and the lightning that we typically would see in a summertime storm. Here's the concern, all right? We're going to reset everything. It is 6:37 here on your Saturday evening. A lot of people maybe heading out for date night or something like that. And unfortunately, Mother Nature trying to wreck some of those plans out there with some strong gusty winds. We've got a line of showers and storms basically from about the Hancock, Hawkins County lines south here into Baileyton and south into Greenville. That's advancing off quickly to the north and east, heading towards Kingsport, heading toward Johnson City and Jonesboro. Johnson City not included in those severe thunderstorm warnings at this time, but you're close enough to where I would expect one to probably be issued here shortly. As the storm system pushes off towards the north and east. So we'll put the radar back on here, and I'm going to do another storm track. It's interesting because we almost have two little separate lines developing now here. One north into parts of Lee County, basically Cumberland south into Lee County, and a little bit of a break here, which is kind of where the radar beam comes out. Sometimes you can get false signatures through there. That may be what we're seeing more so than it breaking up a little bit. And then south into parts of Greene County, where we're seeing the continuation of that strong area of winds. Let's put a storm track on this that is moving off to the north and east at 55 miles per hour. Double checking that. It is 55. And what that's going to do is put it into these areas rather quickly. So here's the ETA on this. Fall Branch around 6:43, Kingsport 6:49, Jonesboro around 6:54, Tri-Cities Airport close to 7 o'clock. Bristol 7:12, Greendale 7:22 is getting to parts of Washington County, Virginia, Abingdon 7:27, and also into Shady Valley around 7:30. Of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, and what that means is that people are able to talk back to us, can ask us what's going on and ask us the questions that are on their mind. News 5's Kristen Kwan down here in the studio with us, kind of monitoring everything. And Kristen, I'm going to toss to you, I promise, but we just got a new warning. So give me 1 minute to kind of go over this, and then we'll get over to you. Here's the new severe thunderstorm warning. It's just come out. Sydney's grabbing that off the printer. This one's going to go until 7:30 tonight.
Yeah, so
and
this one is this one is for portions of Greene County, Unicoi County, Carter County, City of Bristol included in that. The hazard is 70-mile-per-hour winds, so that has ramped up a little bit. The last warning actually had 60-mile-per-hour winds on it, so wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So just expect considerable tree damage if you're headed out, as you said, date night, things like that. You want to be careful because there could be trees in the roadways.
Yeah, especially a good point now that the sun has gone down and it can be harder to see those trees at night. This severe thunderstorm warning goes till 7:30 tonight and moving towards the heart of our population center across our viewing area, Bristol, Kingsport, and Johnson City. Kingsport, you're going to see it first, then Johnson City, then Bristol. So I'm going to put another storm track on this as we've got this new warning. That was moving at 55, right, Sydney?
Yes, it's moving at 55 miles per hour, and locations included Johnson City, Kingsport, and Bristol, as you said. Also Greenville, Elizabethton, Irwin, and Jonesboro also included in this warning.
Thank you. Here's the latest ETA arrival of this storm. Fall Branch, just basically in a few moments. Kingsport 6:49, heading towards Johnson City around 7 o'clock. Bristol 7:10, Hunter 7:16, Greendale 7:22, Abingdon 7:25, Damascus around 7:35, and into Mountain City around 7:40. Let's try again to check in with Kristen and see if you have any questions. And Kristen, feel free to just read out any reports that we're getting or any of the questions people are asking, and Sydney and I will do our best to answer those.
All right, sounds good. So we have a question from Teresa McGuire. She says, how strong are the winds going to be in between Hampton and Roan Mountain / Tiger Valley, and how long is it expected to last?
Say those locations one more time for me. Sorry, I was...
It would be between Hampton and Roan Mountains.
All right, Hampton and Roan Mountain, what you've got going on is not so much the thunderstorm winds right now, but the pressure gradient winds. And if we can take graphics 3 full, I'll show you those pressure gradient winds. Sydney has zoomed those in. And Sydney, I'll let you talk about those. We're going to adjust a camera here and we'll get one on Kristen.
Yeah, so we will be seeing the winds between Hampton and Roan Mountain. Right now, Roan Mountain seeing 22-mile-per-hour gusts, Hampton 16-mile-per-hour gusts. Now that's from the upsloping over the mountains and the accelerating down the mountains. That is the current wind gusts, but look, right next door, Watauga seeing 27-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So it is possible definitely to get gusts up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's what we were seeing earlier today. And as this does come closer, Ricky was saying that's the pressure gradient wind force. So as the pressure gradient comes closer, it can charge those winds a bit quicker. Look at Greenville, 36-mile-per-hour gusts. So really, as this system moves closer to your area and you're still on the eastern side of it, that's when you're going to see the gustiest winds before actually seeing any thunderstorm force winds. Do we have any other questions, Kristen?
Yes, we have quite a bit of questions. Thanks, Sydney. We have a lot of people just saying what it looks like in their parts of the area. And somebody is asking, what will the winds be in Johnson City?
Johnson City. So right now, Johnson City is not seeing very gusty winds, but as that comes closer to the area right now, the system is going to be laying itself right where you see the winds that are kind of dying down. But I would say Johnson City wind gusts could also get up to 30 miles per hour ahead of this system as it comes in their direction. Across the board, I would expect gusts up to 30 miles per hour. And as that thunderstorm goes overhead, Johnson City is in the warning for up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So I would be aware of that.
All right, and Amanda Manuel is saying, is Bluff City, Tennessee under a tornado warning?
Bluff City, Tennessee is not under a tornado warning. No. Tornado warning was for portions of Hancock County and is no longer. So no tornado warnings in effect at this time.
All right, sounds good. Crystal Osborne Mark saying that wind is shaking the house here between Rogersville and Bulls Gap, very loud bursts.
And that's pretty much the area that we're seeing those strong winds in now. Let's take graphics 1. Take me on the chroma key, please. And what you're going to notice right through here is those areas that Christian was just mentioning is where those strongest winds have been moving through. And you can see them on the radar too. Look at this. We'll query a few of these, and 70-mile-per-hour winds indicated aloft in the atmosphere, but some of this probably being transported down to the ground, and that's going to be the wind that you're hearing and the wind that can cause damage across the area.
And you know, some people, Ricky, are asking why we haven't cut into actual TV. So maybe you can explain that to some of our Facebook viewers.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, okay? So you've obviously found our coverage, which is great. But unfortunately, when we cut into programming, we get a lot more angry people, and we get a lot of oftentimes even death threats sometimes from people who just don't like us covering up their programming. And so we try to minimize the covering up of those programs as much as we can. Unless there's a life-threatening situation like the tornado warning, then we certainly will break into programming and cover up whatever is on air at the time. But unless there's a tornado warning in our immediate market, we usually don't break in for it across the area. We can use our discretion, and we feel right now that just kind of being here on Facebook and updating you across the area is covering the storms as we need to as they move through. In 2020, a lot of people were able to watch live streams and things like that, but we still have a priority to alert you to severe weather when it moves through, and that's why we will break into programming if there's ever a tornado warning issued or even significant severe weather moving through the area. And certainly we have some strong severe storms moving through the area right now that are concerning, so that's why we're here for you on Facebook Live.
Don't forget that you can, of course, send us a message here on Facebook Live, and we will try to get those answered for you from Ricky or either Sydney about the weather. We did have someone, Keith Moorfield. He says, how high is the wind going to be in Washington County, Virginia, Ricky?
Chance there for winds to get maybe 50 or 60 as this line comes through. Outside of that, tonight you're still going to see some gusty winds, 40, 45, maybe 50 miles per hour once these storms pass and we get the frontal system to get closer to us. That pressure gradient increases. Imagine taking your hands and kind of squeezing something together. That's basically what the two weather systems are doing. And the harder it gets to push those together, kind of what the winds are doing. So it fans it out and moves faster as a result of it. And we could see some gusts there, I think tonight, 45 to 50. But as the line comes through, chance of a brief gust, maybe up to 60.
All right, sounds good. We also have a message from Roslyn Street. She says, what is Lebanon Rosedale expected to get, Ricky?
So Lebanon and Rosedale have not seen this line move into your area yet. So here is, let me stop the radar and I'll put a storm track on and kind of give you an ETA of where the heaviest will be moving into your area. So Lebanon, let's see. I don't want to use those. Let's make sure Lebanon actually pops on here. So that means we're going to have to zoom in a little bit closer and get it down there. So we'll pop that on and draw it north and east once again. There we go. Lebanon around 6:25, 6:30 tonight. I'll pop these numbers over to the other side so you can see them a little bit better. That'll be when the storm's moving into your area. But before that, Nicholsville, Castlewood, Honeacre, your last in line, I should say, at least on my storm track that I put in, 7:37. Norton around 7 o'clock, 7:03 Wise, Castlewood 7:16. Heading into Lebanon around 7:26 is when we expect to see the potential for those strong gusty winds into Lebanon. So when that line of storms moves in, you could see some wind gusts 45, 50, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. Not under a warning right now, but in the Russell County area, Scott County area, that's going to be next in line for where we see these warnings. Let me pop off our storm track and kind of reset everything, and I'll show you a wide picture what we've got going on, or bounce between two radar sites there. But here's the warnings that get cut off. In fact, we can turn off the radar, and that'll help you see it a lot better. There you go. There's the warnings that are in effect. Lee County, parts of Wise County, also Scott County, and then Kingsport, Bristol, Johnson City, much of northeast Tennessee, but not including Russell County yet, not including most of Washington County, Virginia. Doesn't go up into Abingdon just yet, but that's going to be the next area, which I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Weather Service decides to issue a warning for. Kristen?
You know, it's really interesting. We're getting a lot of people telling us, what they're seeing out there. Amy Harless saying that Church Hill is getting tons of rain. People are saying the power is flickering in some of these places. Shirley Hill actually has a good question. How much lightning are we expected to get with some of these storms?
The answer to that is not a lot at all. In fact, most of these storms are not producing any lightning. I'll turn on our lightning tracker, and you'll notice just a few strikes here in parts of Greene County, but for the most part, there's not a ton of lightning with this. Sydney, we've got a new warning that just came out across the area?
Yes, so the new warning that just came out includes Russell County, City of Norton, Scott County, Wise County, which was already warned, but it has extended, and northwestern Washington County. So this includes, as far as location, Abingdon, Norton, Lebanon, Wise, Gate City, Big Stone Gap, Weber City, Cleveland, Coburn, and Appalachia. So this is moving east now at 65 miles per hour. It's gone from 55 to 65 miles per hour. Biggest hazard is going to be up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on. So again, the tree damage if you're headed out on the roadways and things like that. So definitely be careful. It's dark outside. You don't want to have any trees in the way of where you're driving if you are in these warned areas.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So let's dive in. This is the area we were just talking about, basically from Lebanon south and west, that we were expecting to see that warning for. I said I wouldn't be shocked to see the warning issued for those areas, and here's the warning that has just come out. And this warning goes until 7:30 tonight. It's going to include the city of Norton, include Russell, Scott, Washington, and Wise County. And then let's zoom in here and put a storm track on this and what we've got going on. So this was moving northeast east at 65. So the city mentioned it has sped up quite a bit. So there's the strongest part of the storm. There's the ETAs. Here's an updated storm track for you as this system races off to the north and east. 7:20 in Abingdon, 7:27 in Grundy, Damascus 7:30. We're looking towards Richland 7:36, Marion 7:45, and Tazewell around 7:50 tonight as this storm system advances off to the north and east. We're going to do a little radar analysis here. North of Rogersville, east of Kyles Ford. All right, let's take a look at that. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you see how the winds are kind of bowing near Kingsport, and that looks like the gustiest location of winds at this time?
Yeah, for sure. And so why don't you take that on graphics 3 and let me do a little radar analysis over here because I want to look at something the Weather Service was talking about.
Absolutely. So let's take graphics 3 full, if we could, out there. And this is what I'm talking about with this location being the gustiest winds. Right here, Gate City to Kingsport back towards Jonesboro, where you're seeing those red colors. When you see a structure that is set up like that, we call it a bowing type of structure. That's where the gustiest winds are going to be located. So you can see that is a very broad area as it's headed towards the northeast. If we put velocity on that, that just backs up this theory of that structure being the gustiest winds. We are seeing, let's get up with velocity. We are seeing 75 mile per hour gusts headed towards Kingsport and Gate City, 79 miles per hour. Now, these are aloft because the radar beam is being sent out aloft, but those areas are seeing the gustiest winds in the entire region, along with Jonesboro. Let's put a query on that as well. And this is headed right towards Johnson City, 78 miles per hour into Jonesboro. And this system is headed towards the northeast at 65 miles per hour. So that is moving quite quickly. Let's look back at the radar. So you can just tell by that structure that that's where the gustiest winds are right now. As it continues, it will continue to move in that direction with those gusty winds. Red colors over Kingsport and Gate City. That's where the heaviest rain is located as well. Headed towards the northeast. Hilton's will be next up, along with Nicholsville, Fort Blackmore. Also Central Heights, Blountville, Bluff City, already seeing an area of heavier rain, but even heavier rain is headed their way that is currently over Sulphur Springs and towards Boones Creek.
Sydney, let's take graphics 1 full. And this is our camera. I believe that's Holston Valley Medical Center.
Yes, that is it.
There is all the wind that is blowing those raindrops by there on our Holston Valley Medical Center camera. Not much of a view from there except for the raindrops that we see flying by our camera. Where else can we look at some cameras maybe here? Let's try, I think our Kingsport camera is down, but let's try 81 at the split, or I like to call it the 81-26 split. And you can see the camera rocketing around a little bit there from what it typically would be, and normally a nice peaceful camera shot. But today it's getting rocketed around just a little bit in the winds that we've got moving through there across the area. And well, let's look now.
What about Jonesville?
Jonesville?
Yes.
I was going to try Johnson City. Oh, Jonesboro. Try to pop that up on the middle computer there. I think I've got it up on there. Here's a peaceful view right now at Interstate 26 in Johnson City, but these line of storms will be quickly approaching there, and certainly will be some strong winds moving into there in just a few minutes as this line advances off to the north and east rather quickly. As Sydney loads that other camera here, we will show you the view from another spot. Let's see if our Kingsport camera will load. I think it's down, but I wanted to click on just to see if it'll come up there, and that looks like no. All right, well, that's cool. We're going to go back to the radar then, and let's pop me back up on radar here, and we'll talk about what we've got going on. We can give you an all clear basically in parts of Hancock, also Hawkins County. You're still going to see some strong winds with this, but the strongest part of the line is now moving east of you, and rather quickly east of you as well. And so my concern is now lower from basically anywhere west right through here. Anywhere west of there into parts of Lee County, Rose Hill, Leslie, Harlan counties, I'd give them an all clear. Also into the western ports of Hawkins County, all clear there. Also into the western portions of Greene County, all clear there. But still a heads up as you live into, or you work your way into Bristol. Obviously Kingsport, as we saw the storms moving through there on our camera just a minute ago, and also into Bluntville and the Hiltons area. Look at that little area right through there. May even be some small hail with this. The setup is not great for hail today, but there could be some small hail in it. I'll switch over to our velocity products here. And our hail tracker not really showing anything. This is our VIL product, which is kind of an indication of how much water there is, and sometimes the density of that, which ice is more dense than water. And so sometimes we can see hail on the radar that way, but not seeing anything there. But you can see a little blip of pink right there near Bloomingdale. Obviously some heavy rainfall falling with this system as it moves through the area. So Bristol, Bluntville, the airport, Bluff City, Piney Flats, you're next in line. Johnson City, this is knocking on your doorstep. Let's pop back up our Johnson City camera here. There's our Holiday Inn camera. There's the rain, has now moved in. We'll pop up our Town View camera.
Jonesboro's seeing a similar site.
There's the...
As those two cameras. Jonesboro's also seeing a similar site with that rain coming down. You can see on our Jonesboro camera behind Ricky. Oops.
There's looks like our camera may have frozen there at Holston Valley Medical Center, Sydney. I wonder if they lost power.
I noticed that a few minutes ago. That actually happened a little bit of time ago, but yeah.
Kristen, can you look some of that up for us, see if there's any ADPs reporting any power outages or anything like that, and we'll come to you in a few minutes and see if you've got anything there. I'll load the radar back up and dive into what we've got going on. Okay, questions?
A few people asking, how long for our region are these storms expected to last?
Not too much longer. This is going to be with us through about 8, maybe 9 o'clock off the eastern portions of Smith County, Wythe County, and then after that, we're done with the line of storms. So let me just pop on the national radar and I'll zoom out and show you what we've got west of us. Here is the main frontal area right through here. Here's a swirling area, low pressure, and you can see the snow and the colder air associated with this. As you get up towards St. Louis, seeing some snow across Illinois, parts of Indiana, and parts of Missouri tonight. Here is the secondary line of storms going to be moving through. Here is the primary line of storms moving through, and this will be the stronger one out of the two. So let's say after about 8:30, 9 o'clock for the entire region, things will be gone. Before that, still a little bit of some time for these storms to be moving through, especially if you are in the areas where the storms have not moved through yet. So Bristol, Lebanon, Abingdon, places like that. You still probably have about another 45 minutes to an hour, maybe even an hour and a half of storminess before all this moves off towards the east and moves out of here. Kristen?
All right, I'll take us back to Facebook and see if we have a couple more questions for us. Lots of people just chiming in, telling us they're seeing rain, they're seeing lightning. Lots of people saying hard wind and rain in the Allendale area. And then we've also had a couple people ask about the airport area. So Ricky, can you give us a little bit more about what's going to be happening there?
Yeah, so the airport area is basically right where this line of storms is moving through right now. In fact, let's try to pop up. Sydney, let me take control of this real quick. and we will pop up our Northeast State camera because that's located pretty much right there at the airport. It's one of our newer cameras. Sometimes I forget that's an option because it's one of our newest cameras, but we love having this because it's a pretty cool shot. And hey, speaking of the airport, there's the site of the wind that's moving down. Let's see if we can move this camera a little bit. I can pop that up over here and get control of our camera. And I want to pan it around a bit just to kind of see what we've got going on, see if we can see any of the wind kind of whipping through some of the areas there at the campus. But certainly some strong gusty winds moving through the Tri-Cities Airport area right now. You can see the pine trees there in the distance blowing around a little bit as a result of those strong gusty winds moving through. So some wind gusts probably up around 30, 40 miles per hour moving through the Tri-Cities Airport area right now. And of course, that'll be moving towards Muddy Creek Raceway if it's not there yet, almost immediately in a few minutes. And then heading towards areas east of there as you get towards Bluntville. Hey, look at that wind gust right there. That's a pretty potent wind gust.
Ricky, as far as power outages go, it doesn't look like there are any widespread power outages, but there is an area in Kingsport, 30 customers out of power from Appalachian Power, and that looks to be the only area. It doesn't look like Southwest Virginia is seeing much as far as power outages or the rest of Eastern Tennessee.
All right, appreciate
72 customers out. But again, you're right, not a large amount.
Yeah, nothing too
at
widespread, just isolated locations of power outages.
Okay, well, that's great news there. We don't want to have any issues with power tonight, and especially on a weekend. That's one of the worst times to have a power outage because you're sitting there, you're trying to watch Netflix or TV or whatever. You're trying to watch a football game and watch our severe weather coverage on your cell phone at the same time, and sometimes Mother Nature has other plans. So there's our Northeast State camera once again. You can see the sheets of rain coming down here. Look right through there. That's actually the Tri-Cities Airport's tower. Every once in a while, you'll see a little light come around. That's the light that tells the airports, or the airplanes, right there. There's the light. That's the light that tells the airplanes whether the airport is IFR or VFR, whether you're going to have to fly using your eyes or fly using instruments because you can't see due to the clouds and rain. And certainly with the visibility reduction and the wind and also the rain that we've got right now, they are IFR out there at the airport. Trees blowing a little bit in the wind as the storms have moved through. But the gustiest part of the storms are certainly now starting to advance their way quickly off to the north and east and heading more into Russell County. Let's do another storm track on this, basically from Nicholsville into Castlewood and Bolton. That's going to be the next areas in line. So Polandtown 702, Mendota 705. Maybe try to load our Mendota tower cam back there, sit on graphics 3. Castlewood 710, St. Paul 710 as well, Carbo around 715, Hansonville 715 as well, and Lebanon around 720 is your newest ETA for this line of storms as they advance off towards the north and east. Two little kind of Boeing segments here now. One right through here, right? This is more into parts of Letcher County near Jenkins, Pound, and Norton. One little Boeing area right through there. And sometimes these Boeing areas can be indicative of some strong gusty winds that we've had. And then another Boeing area right through here from basically Scott County south into the areas right near the airport and south down towards almost near Elizabethton and also into Johnson City there. We'll zoom in a little bit closer and kind of get you more detailed spots. Not in Elizabethton yet, but right there kind of knocking on the doorstep into Elizabethton. And Sadie, here's Butler, here's Shady Valley, and here's Hampton. The next warning, if we get one, is going to be for Johnson County and probably the western portions of Sullivan County and also probably parts of Washington County, Virginia. And I wouldn't...
I actually just saw a strike of lightning in the background.
Oh, okay.
From that tower cam, but oh yeah,
and there it is.
Pull that up.
So let's pop up graphics 3.
Yeah,
okay.
Graphics 3. And there are some strikes of lightning you can see in the distance from this camera. Obviously, the rain is coming down in front of it. But let's see if we're lucky enough to see another one of those lightning strikes. That just is an added thing that you're going to want to watch out for with this system, because now it does. There's one. It does look like there are some lightning strikes. It's not going to be the biggest worry or the biggest thing to worry about. I would still say wind gusts will be the biggest thing to worry about, but lightning is in the forecast. So let's look at the radar and see what we have as far as any type of lightning strikes.
You know, the interesting thing about that area, Sydney, too, is on the radar, just something I was looking at off screen here. It's also indicating a little bit of an area of hail, probably not reaching to the surface, maybe some pea-sized hail if it is. But what that tells me is that these storms are producing the more kind of frozen liquid, and of course that's what you need if you want to produce some lightning. You got to have that frozen ice crystals. So what is that new warning that came out, or is that an update?
Yes, this is an update. It's been canceled for Northeast Hawkins and Greene County. So they have the all clear right now. The severe thunderstorm warning that was for northeastern Hawkins County and Greene County has now been canceled. But I have this lightning activity map up, and those blue colors are the areas that are seeing some lightning strikes right now. They're not seeing all that many, but there are now some lightning strikes coming with this system. So yeah, as Ricky said, it's just showing that the system's a little bit more juicy, I guess you could say, with hail and also lightning now. So wind is not the only, whoops, that is an old one. Wind is not the only thing that we're watching.
So that's a good way to put it, a little bit of a juicier thunderstorm moving through that area. I like that acronym there. Let's go back to the radar here. We can punch me up again on chroma key, please. And what I want to do is zoom in to one of these areas just between Nicholsville, right basically where we're talking about, near Mendota, where we're seeing those lightning strikes. In fact, a pretty decent uptick in lightning activity here over the last little bit. And the reason I point this out is because we talked about how, thunderstorms get a little bit more powerful when they get lightning strikes. And that's an indication to us as meteorologists that they can be strengthening. And hey, in a setup like this where you're kind of watching the whole line, you may want to hone in on that area just a little bit more. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch over to velocity, and we're going to do just that. Because looking at some of our other products here, I think we're going off the wrong radar, but right through there was a little bit of some indications of maybe just a little bit of rotation through there, although I think it's weakened just a little bit now. A lot of times these lines can produce these quick little spins of rotation, and then they're quickly gone, but even just another scan later, which is only about a 2 to 3 minute time period. So we're continuing to monitor all of those as they move through. There we go. Now we've got the radar how I want it. And I'll step this back. Right there. That's what I was interested in. This area just south of Nicholsville, and I wish I could zoom in a little bit closer, but what's going to happen is it's going to switch over to the other radar, so we can't do that. But between Gate City and Nicholsville, there was a little area that we are keeping our eye on as it moved through. The Tri-Cities Airport ASOS reported a wind gust of 53 knots, and so we'll convert that over to miles per hour. That is a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust at the Tri-Cities Airport that was indicated by the ASOS station out there, and that's the official reporting station for the Tri-Cities. That's where we get all of our temperature reports, things like that. So certainly some strong gusty winds moving through that area, and if you live anywhere east of the airport, you can expect that same type of storm to be moving your direction over the next little bit. We're getting into that fun zone where the radar starts to bounce between a couple of different locations, but certainly still seeing those strong gusty winds basically from almost right near the hybrid power plant south into Nicholsville, into Benhams, Bristol, and Bluntville. Sid, let's get our Bristol camera up there on Middo, because I'm really curious what that's going to look like as it moves through. In fact, we'll probably start to hear it here on our roof. You may hear it on my microphone as the storm pushes into Bristol. A lot of times with our metal roof we've got here in the station, you can hear the rain pelting down on the rooftop as a result of that. And sometimes we can even hear the gusty winds blowing through those areas as well. So I'll be interested to see what our Bristol camera shows and see if we see the wind blowing down the street, as has become a popular thing. A report from Hamlin County, a few trees down from law enforcement there. Had a report earlier of some more wind damage near the Morristown area. That was also into Hamlin County. More trees down with that scenario. Checking around the area, another wind gust reported of 53 miles per hour.
Out and about on State Street from our Bristol camera, but really the camera, it's not quite picking up heavy rain and winds yet. We'll know when that happens because we'll hear it on the roof. But the Mendota camera, whoops, I have that. The Mendota camera right now is what is really picking up the heavy rain coming down. You really can't even tell that it's a camera right now.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to switch over to that. That's going to be on graphics too. It looks a little dark there, but it's just because of how we had it punched up. So there is our camera located at our Mendota Fire Tower, and you can see the sheets of rain coming down there. We'll try to pop it up on a different view and see if we can load it up with our banner. There we go. You can see just all the raindrops. Those are all raindrops that are flying through. They almost look like snowflakes, but those are raindrops that we've got going down through those areas. I think our camera's frozen now because I see it frozen on both sources. So we're going to go back here and look at the wind. And once again, so here's the radar picture. We'll put a storm track on this once again for you. And the interesting thing about those wind reports from the airport is making me think that perhaps we're going to see wind gusts continuing behind this line just for a little bit. A lot of times you see some of the strongest winds on the initial band. In fact, our camera just went offline there. I can see it across the room. That camera's now offline, which means power may not be working too well there anymore, which makes sense with the winds and the rain that we saw coming down there. So we'll zoom in once again. Let me pop some different radars on here. It's going to look a little bit brighter. That's just because I've got a couple of different radars turned on now because we're getting to that area where I can work off of this radar right here, just south and east of Radford, or we can try to look at this radar here in Morristown, or the one all the way up here just north of my little banner near Jackson, Kentucky. Those are the three different banners we have that we're able to, or three different radars we're able to use to track storms as they move through our area. So there's the radar. And what you're noticing still here is a lot of wind energy with these storms moving into now Russell County, into Washington County, and also into Bristol. Our weather spotter, Billy, I expect a report there out of Lebanon as this storm moves through. So make sure you send that over to me. Let's take a look at our Johnson City camera again and see if anything's popping up there. I want to see if we got any strong gusty winds, maybe along North State of Franklin. Yeah, you can see the sheets of rain there. Let's take these cameras full. And we'll talk a little bit about what we've got going on across those areas. So there's the North State of Franklin camera. You can see some people slowing down as well. There's the Holiday Inn camera. Right where I'm standing, basically, if you look here, this is Interstate 26, and there's kind of the sheets of rain coming down there on Interstate 26 as a result of these strong gusty winds that we've got moving through the area. And don't want to be driving out there on 26 right now if you can help it.
People traveling right now. Oh, I'm just starting to hear it on the roof right above us. Yeah, so that the heaviest portion of rain is coming in. Oh, let me pull up the Bristol camera. That is, let's see.
Some people are commenting on our Facebook feed that the traffic on 81 is moving really slow.
Which is probably a result of all that heavy rain. I mean, any specific area? We got a couple cameras, not a ton there.
Where is... So the Bristol camera right now just went from looking great to now breezy conditions. Okay, we can take it up on graphics 3. You can see it went from just a few moments ago when we pulled it up to some rain coming down to now rain coming down sideways in those wind gusts. This is actually a very good illustration of what it's like out there. Some people driving through this, but surely they're going to have to pull over for at least a little bit.
There's sheets of rain coming down there on that camera. Sometimes we even see the power flash. This is a really nice camera to see the wind, especially when lines of storms come through, because the State Street is oriented just at the perfect angle to get that wind ripping down the street. And we can see those strong winds pretty evidently. Getting reports of power outages in Bluntville and tree branches everywhere from one of our good friends, Mike Cox. He's reporting that to the Weather Service there. Look at the visibility, Sydney, and how it's dropped.
That has happened within the past 3 minutes, too.
Once again, that is our downtown Bristol camera. You see the Bristol sign just there on the horizon.
Reports that some of Bristol has power outages. Power just went off behind Food City on Volunteer Parkway in that apartment complex back there.
Okay. And,
we actually have a viewer here, Jessica Wampler, saying power is going on and off in Bristol, Tennessee.
And my fiance, who lives in Mount Carmel, also telling me the power is out at her house too. So sorry about that.
Let's look at the power outage map.
So power outages seem to be a growing problem now as we've gone through the evening hours, which makes perfect sense with the strong winds that we've got moving through the area and these strong severe storms producing winds of 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. A lot of times, they'll down a tree and then that comes down a power line, and then that's how your power ends up going out as a result of these storms that are moving through right now.
So Sullivan County now has over 3,500 power outages. Hawkins County now has a reported 2,500 power outages, and this is just going to continue rising as people continue reporting them. That's why it's so important to charge up your cell phone and things like that before any weather pushes in, just because if your power goes out, there's no way to report it if your cell phone's dead. And also, you wouldn't really have very much you could do if the power's out as well. So 3,500 people without power in Sullivan County. That's quite a bit, and that's rising.
Good point. Here is, if we take graphics 1 full, this will be exit 5 on Interstate 81. We're actually off the interstate a little bit. This is another one of our cameras out there, and you can notice the sheets of rain coming down at exit 5 as well. The interstate is there in the distance where the flashers are on for those cars. And there's another road that runs pretty close. There's that car coming from left to right in the camera, and the other ones there going the opposite direction. That's the interstate where people are still traveling out there. You can see the sheets of rain coming down on our camera there near exit 5. In downtown Bristol, still seeing the heavy rain there. There is our camera network located in downtown Bristol, our State Street camera, where the strongest winds are moving through right now. And those winds, to me, look to be around 45, maybe 50 miles per hour as they move through. And that's causing some issues with power outages and things like that. We can switch to a few more cameras. What ones are we going to want to do next? Let's see. Wise is a static image, but I can show you that one just out of curiosity. Certainly raining in Wise. We'll try to take another camera. Which one do we want to take here? We could try to take some Carter County school cameras here. Here's Happy Valley High School. You can see the rain coming down there. Here is Hampton High School. Not as heavy a rain there yet. Storm's not really into those regions just yet. Here's Unaka High School. I'm expecting kind of the similar look there. Not as heavy of rain, but certainly some thing. And this will be an interesting camera shot if we can still see the flag when it comes through, because there's a flag there that we may see whipping around. New warning, I believe, is just coming hot off the printer. Sydney, I'll throw it over to you for that.
Yes, so we have a new severe thunderstorm warnings for Dickinson and Buchanan counties that were just issued. So the big hazard is still winds. This includes Clintwood, Grundy, Hayside, Davenport, and you want to be careful if you are in those areas. Hurley as well is included in that. So the main issue that could come with this is going to be the isolated locations of trees down. It expires. It was put into effect at 7:14 and it expires at 8 o'clock exactly. So we just got...
I think what they've done there is they've basically, Morristown has decided to warn everything all the way up to where they no longer have responsibility for it. And then what happens here, this is an interesting scenario. And so let's take graphics 1, take me again here, and I'll show you what we've got going on. Certainly warranted warnings, but what's happening now is we've got a couple different Weather Service offices all working together to warn these areas. So Dickinson and Buchanan counties, that belongs to the Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia. This right here, this whole entire swath of warnings, that belongs to Morristown, and then Marion, Smith County, that belongs to the Weather Service in Blacksburg, and probably we'll be getting a warning from that office there shortly as well, Sydney.
Yes, so same type of hazards for all of those areas. This blanket warning now in place, and it's going to continue until 8 o'clock as well. So keep an eye out for trees down, and this includes locations Glade Spring, Honaker, Damascus. They're continuing that warning until 8 o'clock. Move to an interior room as this storm heads overhead. So as far as winds, it's still moving at 65 miles per hour. And that line that we've been showing you all along, that is what is being warned. Right now you can see those red colors headed towards Lebanon, Cleveland, Nora, also Pound, seeing the wind gusts and the heaviest rain at this time. So it really is, as Ricky said before, it's kind of almost formed into two separate lines. One of them is on the Wise County, Dickinson County state line, and the other is Lebanon, Abingdon, and almost curving into, not almost, it is curving into portions of Sullivan County, just past Bristol. Bristol, the heaviest rain is behind you as for portions of Bristol. That's for portions of Volunteer Parkway, and it is headed towards the Sportsman Marina, Parks Mill. Abingdon is going to be seeing the heaviest rain with this system next as well. Ricky, do you have anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I checked out our wind reports there from some of our weather stations. We have one here on the roof at our CYB station and measured 47-mile-per-hour wind there. We can pop on those wind reports. I just made this graphic earlier today, and it's going to come in handy here. Let's take graphics 1, take me full again, and I'll show you some of our wind gusts that we've had. This one has not gotten the update yet because it just happened last 5 minutes to our reporting station here at WCYB, but our weather station measured a gust of 47, which matches pretty well with this gust here at John Sevier Middle School of 49 miles per hour. And of course, the airport reporting a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust as these storms move through. And that's honestly some of the strongest winds I've reported or seen reported at the airport in a couple of the lines of storms that we've seen moving through the region really in the past year or so. It just maybe happened that the airport got that quick gust when it moved through there that caused that wind to gust so quickly up to 60 miles per hour. So let's give you another view of everything here. We're going to pop back on the radar and show you what we've got going on. So let's go back to the radar here. I'll load that up for you and show you what we've got. In fact, let's show you the warnings in effect right now. So I'm going to switch back over a different map here. Boy, if you wanted to play color the map in with yellow, we certainly have done that tonight. We're all the way from West Virginia, Virginia state line, Dickinson, Buchanan counties, everything there. Wise County, basically from Big Stone Gap north and east, included in that. Town of Norton, town of Wise included in that warning. And then Scott County included in that warning, the eastern part there, all of Russell County, Washington County, Virginia, the entire Washington County, Virginia area, then basically Sullivan County from Kingsport east, Johnson County, all of Johnson County included in that. And there's a little sliver there near Realm Mountain, not included, but let's just say it's included just to kind of satisfy us. So Carter County, pretty much everyone under a warning there, and also into Washington County, everyone under a warning in those areas. But where are the strongest winds now? The strongest winds are right here on this leading edge that's moving through Abingdon. We have a new camera located in downtown Abingdon that I'm going to try to pop up. Sometimes this can take a minute to load, but I'm very curious to see what it looks like if it loads up there because this one is located a little bit higher up. It's located on Leonard Tower, and there we go. There's the view from Abingdon. Maybe the gustiest winds have not reached there just yet, but they will be there shortly. Sydney, can you load up the scene of that one?
Yes.
On that back there? You may have to pull it in from the sources if it's not in the show. Sometimes that loads a little, or streams a little better because this camera sometimes likes to do that and go green, which is perfectly fine, but we've got another source that loads it a little bit better. So we'll switch over back to the radar and zoom in here. Abingdon basically is right where this line of storms is moving through right now. So next up in line is exit 24 in Glade Springs. So here's a storm track on this as it moves off towards the north and east. Rosedale, 724, exit 24, 726, Damascus, 730, Saltville, 732, into Chatham Hill, 745, Conorock, 751, and Mountain Empire Airport, and more importantly, getting out of our area by around 7:53 tonight as it moves into the Roanoke television coverage area and moves out of our viewing area.
Here it comes, Ricky, on the Abingdon camera. We just looked at it a moment ago, and now visibility reduced, and you can see the camera.
Let's take graphics 3 there.
Yeah, graphics 3 has the Abingdon camera up on it right now. So you can see visibility reduced. That was within a few minutes as well. So this is really coming in quick, and the camera jiggling around a little bit, rain coming in sideways from those gusty winds. So that is a live look at Abingdon right now, which is right now on the leading edge of these gusty winds and this thunderstorm. So,
Sid, I'm going to leave it with you for just a minute. I want to do a little bit of looking at some data here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I was actually just looking back at our Bristol camera that I can pull up here very quickly. So Bristol is basically from what we were seeing before. Bristol looked a lot like what Abingdon looks like right now. Now just some light rain coming down. Wind isn't as bad, but I can still see some wind coming in sideways. Current gusts for Bristol, that's Elizabethton, 33 miles per hour. Yeah, current gusts for Bristol are near 16 miles per hour. So still gusty, but as Ricky said, there was a 45 mile per hour, 46 mile per hour gust that was tracked from the roof of the building. So right now, Abingdon is going to be on the leading edge of this severe thunderstorm in the gustiest locations. Also Lebanon seeing the heaviest rain and the gustiest winds as well. Now this is another location of heavy rain pushing into Dickinson County, Clintwood, and we're going to be seeing that for the next few minutes. Let's put a track on this one that is currently in Clintwood, see how long, it's currently in Dickinson County, see how long it's going to be there for. So now moving at 65 miles per hour. It's a little bit quicker than what I have my track set to. Okay, so right now it is 7:24. This line of heavy rain and the gustiest winds is expected to be in Hayside by 7:32, Davenport by 7:40, Grundy by 7:45, Hurley by 7:54, and out of our viewing area by around 8 o'clock it will be out. So it's moving very quickly, which is good for how heavy the rain is, but something you definitely want to keep an eye out if you are in the area. Now let's put a track on this line right here. They've kind of split into two separate lines right now. Let's track this one. And it is currently set to 65 miles per hour, which it is moving at. Emory and Henry will see the heaviest rain in just a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Chilhowie, 7:35, so about 10 minutes. Marion, 7:44. Mountain Empire Airport, 7:53. We do have a camera set up near Mountain Empire Airport, at Mountain Empire Airport, that we'll be able to show you guys as that heads through. Rural Retreat around 7:57. And Wytheville by 8:08. So it looks like the heaviest rain is really going to clear the area by 8 o'clock. Really moving fast. It's currently 7:25. So these warnings are in effect until 8 o'clock, and that is looking like when they're going to be clearing the area. Let's look at our wind gusts right now that we're seeing. Let's see if this will switch over to the other radar.
While you're switching over there, Sydney, it's interesting. Annette Barman commented on our Facebook feed and said that they are at Buffalo Wild Wings in Bristol at exit 5. They said they're sitting here without power.
Oh, so exit 5 has a lot of people without power. Actually, before I start talking about wind speeds again, let's look at the current power outages. A little over 3,500 people in Sullivan County are without power, and 2,500 in Hawkins County. That's for Tennessee. As far as Washington County, Virginia, no reports quite yet of power outages. I'm sure that they will begin to come in as people report them. So if you do have a power outage, make sure you report to your provider of power so that they can relay that information onto us. Also, send us your photos. We haven't been receiving too many photos. If you can safely get a photo, send it to us at wcyb.com/chime in. So let's look at how gusty these winds are right by Lebanon. Oh, not all that bad. 28 miles per hour aloft. Abingdon seeing similar conditions. It's not quite letting me.
Let's go over to Kristen here real quick. She's got some information from one of our reporters, and we'll let you do that, and then we'll talk about the new warning.
Yeah, we do have some breaking news just into our newsroom. Virginia State Police just called, and they say they do have the interstate shut down on 81 in Bristol at exit 5 and exit 7 at the mile markers there. So again, not sure exactly what's happening there, but it's probably weather related. So if you are on Interstate 81, you might want to find an alternate route, because right now exit 5 and exit 7 are shut down.
Yes, and we do have an exit 5 camera, which is on graphics 3 right now. So they have shut it down. You can see people still traveling. So this is actually getting off at the exits that are shut down.
Yes, it looks like.
Maybe they're not letting anyone else additionally on, I guess. 'Cause there's a live camera at exit 5, And well, sometimes, they briefly shut it down when the worst part of the storms are coming through, and then now they've advanced off towards the east. Maybe they've opened traffic back up there. So either way, appreciate that report, because we can certainly use any and all reports that are sent to us across the area tonight.
And while that was coming in, we actually received another portion of a severe thunderstorm warning in addition to what we already are seeing. Ashe County has been added along with Watauga County and Smith and Tazewell counties as well. Southwestern Wythe County, has been added to that as well. So let's take the radar off of this so we can just see. So now it's adding the North Carolina mountains along with portions of Grayson County. Boone's included in this, along with Mountain City, Tazewell County as well. So this is just ahead of the line that is pushing in that direction. By around 8 o'clock is when those locations will be seeing the rainfall. Right now, heaviest rain is near exit 24. Brumley Gap just saw the heaviest rain is pushing now towards the northeast. Rosedale, Corn Valley, Henderson. It's basically heading along Interstate 81 just past Abingdon. So that will continue to head northeast at 65 miles per hour. It is still headed at, and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And now they've added in the threat of quarter-sized hail into that. It doesn't look like there are any hail cores with the system right now, but that is a possibility as it continues to move. So we are watching all of this until 8:30. That's when Watauga, Ashe, Smith, Tazewell counties will be expiring their severe thunderstorm warning. So this includes Boone, Marion, Richlands, Bluefield, Tazewell, Saltville, and Chilhowie. They were already in the warning. Chilhowie and Saltville were at least. So now we're keeping an eye on hail damage as well. No hail cores as far that I can see on the radar as I analyze this, but let's put another track right here and see when this will be moving. Whoops. Heaviest rain.
Sydney, let's jump over to Kristen here real quick and get an update on some power outages that we've got across the region. Let's load up. I'll load it over here on my computer, and then we'll let her talk about that. So give me 1 second to load up what I want for Kristen as a graphic. There it is. And Kristen, you can talk about some power outages we got going on.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Appalachian power outage map here, and it looks like in Sullivan County there's 3,931 outages. That's what they're reporting in Sullivan County at this time. Around the region, some lower numbers. Washington County is just saying 18. Smith County, fewer than 5. So again, Sullivan County looks to be the largest. Scott County reporting 890 customer outages. And then Hawkins County has 3,117 outages reported.
All right, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Hey, Ricky, I also do want to point out this has slowed down significantly. Now it is moving east at 40 miles per hour. Before, the last warning we got was 55 to 65 miles per hour. So they have slowed the track in which that it is moving. So as far as timing, I set the track to 40 miles per hour now. That sets it in Saltville in just a few minutes. This is the heaviest portion of rain and the strongest winds. Chilhowie at 7:38, Marion at 7:46, Atkins at 7:51, Rural Retreat 7:59. Wytheville, 8:09. So still clearing the area around 8 o'clock, maybe a little after now that it has been reported to slow down just a little bit. But those portions of the region that were just added to the severe thunderstorm warnings could potentially see the gustiest winds and the heaviest rain between 8 and 8:30, as that was just added to the thunderstorm warning. So it sounds as if something else is printing. They may be giving me all clear to some locations.
That may even be for a North Carolina county. What's hot off the presses?
I don't think anything just printed.
Okay,
The printer did a roll, but
we're out
nothing
of paper.
printed out of
Who
there.
knows? Let's give you some all clears here. So let's pop me back up on chroma key, and we'll talk about what we've got, where we're all clear, and what we should still be concerned about. So we've got the storms that have been moving through the area now racing off to the north and east quickly. So Smith County, Tazewell County, western portion here, Wythe County, Grayson County, Avery, Ashe County. Those are going to be the areas that we still see the potential for strong to, if not severe, winds moving through. Now, if you live in Bristol, live in Kingsport, Johnson City, areas west of there, you're all clear. No more severe weather expected from this line as it moves through. Dickinson and Buchanan counties, I can almost give Dickinson an all clear, but still Buchanan County heads up. Still some heavy rain and gusty winds moving through your area. And all this is quickly advancing off to the north and east here as we've gone over the past hour. Now, I do want to zoom out a little bit and show you what we've got west here into the Nashville area. I was talking about that initial line of storms. Well, this is the initial line of storms, okay, the one that's coming through now. But a secondary line of storms has decided to form here. Basically from parts of central Kentucky down through the Cookeville, Crossville area between Nashville, you go east there. But this is interesting because this is what's going to move through later tonight. I'm thinking our atmosphere is going to be worked over enough to where these storms aren't going to be as strong to severe as they move into our area. But hey, we'll keep an eye on them as they move through. If that were to happen, that'd probably be around 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. What is... All right, well, that's some type of watch that's come out too, so I wonder where that's for. We'll figure that out in a second. We have some people, we have some systems in the background that can basically send out alerts for us and let us know when things have come out. And that watch, Sydney, where is that for?
That's for Tazewell, Ashe, Watauga, Grayson, and Smith counties. That's for, yeah, they put a watch box around those counties.
You know what the Storm Prediction Center has done is they've gone ahead and issued a watch here for central parts of Virginia, I bet. And if I can find the right icon, I will pop up the watches. It may not have, there it is. There is the new severe thunderstorm watch. So interesting, we didn't get a watch in our area. Watch meaning conditions are favorable, but hey, we had lots of warnings, which meant that it was occurring. That's why we were here with you on Facebook. But here's what we've got. The severe thunderstorm watch, basically from Smith County east, including the Weather Service in Blacksburg, issuing that all the way from Roanoke heading to Lynchburg, and then parts of North Carolina included in this as well. And that's for the line of storms that's trying to move out of our area and move east towards the Roanoke area and get out of our neck of the woods and impact someone else, unfortunately, tonight. But that watch is in effect now, but it's going to quickly be dropped once this line of storms moves through Smith County, also Grayson County, and also into Tazewell County. But the main concern there will be strong gusty winds as this system pushes off to the east. So let's pop back on the radar. We'll zoom in here to Smith County and put a storm track on this. Sydney, you said it was moving a lot slower now, right? Like 45?
Yeah, 40 miles per hour at this point. It's moving towards the east at 40 miles per hour.
So there's an ETA at 40 miles per hour. That's going to put it towards Joe very shortly, about a couple minutes. Marion 750, Atkins 757, Sugar Grove 8 o'clock, Rural Retreat near the airport 808, Blacklick, Speedwell 818, Wytheville 823, and Eagle Furnace around 827. You're getting east and further into Wythe County and then eventually east of there. So resetting everything, let's pop on all the radars and show you what we've got here. You may even see a little bit of a, sometimes you get these storms where you can get what's called an MCV to form, or a mesoscale convective vortex. And I was watching this right through here because it kind of looked like it was trying to do that. But I'm not 100% confident in that yet. What that means to you is nothing really significant. What it means to us as meteorologists is that the storms is trying to get a little better organized. But for you guys, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. What matters to you is that this line of storms near Glade Spring and Chilhowie is quickly advancing off towards the east, towards Marion, Atkins, Chatham Hill, Sugar Grove, and Troutdale. So heads up anywhere in Interstate 81 area east, because that's where we're going to see this strong to severe thunderstorm racing towards very shortly. This radar is looking pretty strong here too, because we're getting a couple thousand feet up in the atmosphere. In fact, we're hitting the beam. Curious to see how high this radar beam is here. Let's see once the data loads. I'm betting it's probably 7,000 to 8,000 feet. Yep, 7,400 feet is where the radar beam is bouncing off of this area right through Glade Spring and Chilhowie. So strong winds aloft with this, and we can switch over to velocity And what you're seeing here is a lot of wind energy aloft as a result of that. So see where it changes there. Unfortunately, this is our area. We're all right in between 3 radars. But when you see a signature like that, you don't need radar and velocity to tell you that there's probably some strong winds there. You can pretty much pick out where the strongest winds would be, basically right from the Russell County, Tazewell, Smith County line into Washington County, Virginia here, south, all the way getting into Mountain City, right near Holston Valley, Holston Mountain, excuse me. If we had our camera up there, I think it's down, but it should probably be rocking around a little bit. They're at 4,400 feet. Laurel Bloomery, Damascus, Grayson, Highlands State Park, and White Top. Line of storm still heading your direction. So just a little bit longer to go before all this is out of our area and continuing to move east. So what do we see for the rest of the night? We're watching another line of showers and storms out here to the west. Pretty confident that this one will not be as strong as it moves through, but it bears watching. We could see a renegade area, some gusty winds as this moves through. And even outside of the showers and storms that we're going to be seeing, we're expecting strong gusty winds just due to the pressure gradient that's existing across the area due to the systems moving close to one another and seeing those gusty winds as a result of that. So expect some strong gusty winds, about 40 to 50 miles per hour, to last through the evening and overnight hours. That's why we have those wind divisors in effect for the area. After that, though, things will calm down and things will get a little bit better as we go into the later portion of the overnight hours. And in fact, as we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast here through the overnight, what you're going to notice is that things aren't going to be too bad for too much longer. Most of the rain and storms will be moving east, and then rain chances significantly dropping as we go towards 2, 4, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Temperatures drop a little bit too. We'll drop down to the upper 40s. Not too bad. That's actually warmer than we're supposed to be during the afternoon this time of the year. Our average afternoon high is around 45 degrees, and tonight for a low, I'm looking for around 47, 48. So much cooler than, or not as cold as we should be, I should say. And here's tomorrow. Tomorrow's looking pretty nice as well. We'll pop on tomorrow's planner. And what you notice there for Sunday is that we warm up into the mid to upper 50s, if not low 60s across the area. Good amount of sunshine during the afternoon, still some clouds around to start off the day, and then dropping back into the 40s. A little bit colder tomorrow night into Monday than we're expecting to see tonight as the storms push through and kind of keep everything a little bit warmer thanks to the clouds that we're expecting around the area.
That storm report in Lebanon that you were waiting on from Billy, he said that he only got his highest wind gust was 24 miles per hour, but mainly rain, thunder, and lightning as it headed over the Lebanon area. And he said basically in all clear, things have calmed down quite a bit.
Good deal. Appreciate that. Thank you, Billy, for sending us that report. And then really appreciate any reports that you send us across the area because it really helps us tell what the weather story is. And of course, if you have any pictures, you can send them to us. WCYB.com/chime-in is the place you can send those pictures to. And we also welcome any of your reports on our Facebook page, social media, Twitter, anything like that. You can send us reports and we will get them relayed over as well.
Kristen, have we gotten any other questions?
Just a few other questions. Brittany Caudell asked, how long will the rain last in Saltville?
In Saltville, well, the heaviest rain actually has already pushed out of Saltville, but they'll continue seeing showers for a little bit of time. They have a good amount of time to see lighter showers than the original line, though. So the heaviest rain is pushed out of their area.
Right. It looks like for right now, people are just chiming in to report power outages and things like that, which we appreciate. Leslie Keene says trees and power lines in the road near John Douglas Wayside, and it looks like power is out all over really our area. My husband actually called from Bristol, Virginia, and he says the power's out there too. So looks like a lot of Bristol, Virginia, a lot of Bristol, Tennessee is without power tonight. What about the wind for Buchanan County? Mark Smith is asking about the wind in Buchanan County.
Let's take a look. According to, let's see, about 12 minutes ago was our last reported wind speeds on the wind speed map, at least. Buchanan County doesn't look like it has a number reading out there, but it is showing pink colors, which is the gustier wind above 15 miles per hour. So I would assume they're seeing around 15 to 20 mile per hour gusts at this point, as Richlands right next to it is seeing a 23 mile per hour gust.
And another report coming in of some trees down across Sullivan County, law enforcement report of that coming into the Weather Service in some of the chat rooms that we have with them. Not surprising at all to see that report there of those strong winds and downing the trees, and of course maybe even causing some of those power outages. We even had that earlier today with some trees coming down and causing a few brush fires across the area due to the strong winds that we had moving through. Sydney's taking another look at the radar. Sydney, why don't we talk about where these storms are now, who is next in line to see them, and give us some more all clears across the area.
Yes, let's do it. All right. Currently, Saltville, heaviest rain has pushed out of Saltville, headed towards Chatham Hill and Marion. So Smith County right now is seeing the gustiest winds and the heaviest rain, even some dark red colors on this radar. Chilhowie is still seeing some of the heavy rain, headed towards Sugar Grove. Atkins will see that as well. Damascus currently in the thick of it for what they're going to see. Now behind that is going to be some rainfall, but not as heavy as the initial line of rain and the initial gusty winds. So no longer seeing Bristol in any of the warnings. Bristol, Tennessee, also no longer seeing the western edge of the western portion of Sullivan County, including Kingsport, Blumpville, Bluff City, Piney Flats, no longer are in any type of warnings. Now we're seeing the lighter rain. Mountain City currently getting the heavier rain. It will be pushing over the North Carolina line in just a minute. Let's put a track on that and time it all out. So now it's moving at 40 miles per hour, according to the last warning that we got in. So let me put a track on that and time it out for y'all.
Guys with power out at the restaurants there at exit 7 too. They say they're sitting there in the dark at a couple of the Mexican restaurants over there.
And probably will be for a while too.
Yeah, until people can go and get that power restored. So as far as the time track goes, for the heaviest rain, I've outlined the heavy portions of rain and put a track on it. So Marion, 7:49. Actually, let's do this.
And
all right, Marion 7:52, Atkins 7:59, 8:10 for Rural Retreat, 8:15 for Jefferson, Wytheville 8:24. So that warning goes until 8:30 there. So in Wythe County, so 8:24 they will see the heaviest rain. 8:36 it will push into places like Fort Chiswell and Galax at 8:49. So excuse my pronunciations of the last two. I might have pronounced them a little bit wrong, but the heavy rain is pushing towards the east as we speak at 40 miles per hour. Let's see the lightning associated with this, if there's any lightning strikes that the radar is picking up on. One moment, let me switch over the radar. Ricky, is your radar over there picking up on any lightning?
not a ton. There's really not a ton of lightning being indicated with all these storms tonight, and that's not entirely surprising just because we don't have a ton of thunderstorm fuel. These are what we call high shear, low cape setups, which means that sometimes we get these storms come through and they got a lot of wind energy with them, but not a lot of kinetic energy with them that allows them to be lifted up thousands and thousands of feet up in the atmosphere, and so they don't tap into that cold air, which you need to produce hailstones, which then end up producing ice. Kristen's got some little information she wants to relate to us, some damage reports, Kristen.
Sure, yeah, and of course, we're always looking for those damage reports, so if you want to send them to us on this Facebook Live, that's really appreciated. We have a crew out actually right now looking into some of those. We just got a message from Hunter Wright. He says that red lights at Euclid and State Street have been ripped off and thrown all over the road. So that might be something that we send our reporter out. Caleb Perney is actually coming in to kind of look at some of that damage.
All right, so the severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Dickinson County has been canceled at this time. So Dickinson County, the northeastern portion of Dickinson County does have the all clear. It looks like all of Dickinson County is no longer in that box, but it has moved on to Buchanan County. These red colors headed towards Hurley. This gets its own track. We can see when this heavier rain is going to, head towards other portions of Dickinson County. Let me get a track on that. Basically, timing for Hurley will be around 10 minutes from now to get the heaviest rain for the area, and then the system will continue to push out of Dickinson County and into West Virginia. So that is the good news for our area. Dickinson County has about another 10 to 20 minutes of seeing heavy rain, maybe 30 minutes if you are in the northeastern quadrant of Dickinson County, but it is looking like this system is still moving pretty quick, 40 miles per hour. Tazewell about to see heavy rain as well. Chatham Hill seeing that heavy rain. Hungry Mother State Park getting wet right into Marion, the heart of Marion, about to see the heaviest rainfall. Ricky, do you have anything new for us over there?
Just kind of watching the radar and looking at a few different areas. We'll take graphics 1 here too, full. And what I want to talk about are some safety tips. Of course, if you're out and about tonight, you come upon one of these down power lines, don't get close to it. That's dumb, first off. 2, it's dangerous and could be deadly, all right? So don't do that. Make sure you keep about 30 feet away from those down power lines and report them to the utility companies so that they can know where they are. They can go out there and fix them. Assume they're energized. Just because your power may be out doesn't mean that power line may not have electricity still flowing to it. And that's another reason you want to report that, because sometimes they can cause fires. They get those tree branches that have been snapped off. They can get right up there where the lines are sparking, and then we can end up having some brush fires and other things as a result of that. Even with the heavy rain, you can still get some fires caused by those really high electric wires that we've got going through, and all the energy associated with that. So let's pop back up the chroma key, and we'll talk about what we've got going on in terms of thunderstorms moving through the area. And we are about done with this line of strong to severe storms, and I know that comes as a welcome phrase for everyone here, because we've had a 2 hour, we started this right before 6 o'clock, almost 2 hours now of almost wall-to-wall coverage here on Facebook, watching some showers and storms push through. Started with that tornado warning in Claiborne and Hancock counties a little bit earlier. We're concerned that could have moved into Lee County, so we stayed with you there to track that storm as it moved quickly off to the north and east, and watch this line of storms as it moved through the entire Tri-Cities area and all of Southwest Virginia, Northeast Tennessee, giving us strong gusty winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour. Several reports of damage across the area. In Bristol, also some trees down in Sullivan County. Haven't got a ton of reports out of Southwest Virginia yet. If you have something you want to pass along to us, send us a news email, news@wcyb.com. If you got a picture or video, you can send that to us at wcyb.com/chime in. I'm just kind of doing a bit of radar analysis here and watching a few of these little areas from Tazewell into Chatham Hill. This is in the eastern portion of Smith County, getting into Wythe County. Here's the Tazewell, Smith, Wythe County line right through here. That's where this line of showers and storms is now, and it's advancing off towards the east. So let's put another storm track on. In fact, the heaviest of the system looks to be right between Tazewell and this should be near Chatham Hill. There's Atkins. Zoom in closer. This little area here, right near Gross Clothes and Cirrus and Burke's Gardens, had my attention for a little bit. It seems to have weakened just a tad, but certainly still some strong gusty winds with that. I'm going to put another storm track on this as it advances off to the north and east and moves out of our area. 7:55 towards Atkins, Sugar Grove near 8 o'clock. Bluefield 8:11, the Fort Chiswell area as you get closer towards Wytheville, 8:32, Pulaski eventually at 8:43, and Dublin 8:50, moving away from us and moving towards Central Virginia, where our friends at our sister station, our NBC sister station there, will have fun with these storms as they move through. And I say fun in a kind of a joking manner there, certainly not so fun when these storms come through and cause wind damage and things like that.
So we have the all clear for a few locations. Carter, Johnson, and Sullivan County, City of Bristol, Russell County, and Washington County, Virginia, all just got the all clear. Their thunderstorm warnings have expired for this time.
So this warning is the one they're letting expire here And so the only warnings we'll have in effect will be the one for Smith County into Grayson County, Ashe, also into Avery or Watauga County, excuse me, and Tazewell, and then portions of Buchanan County, the northern portion there. The printer's going to go off because this little county right here got clipped. This is, I believe, Mitchell or Madison County. Well, there's Madison County. This is Mitchell County there. And that's Avery County that got clipped just a little bit, but that's what the printer, you heard it going off in the background, was for. So if you live down there, this line of storm is still advancing there, and then this is going to be heading towards my buddy Brad Panovich's coverage area in the Charlotte metro area. So that'll be who sees this line of storms next. You can see the line of storms extends basically from the West Virginia border all the way south into parts of Florida. Look how expansive this line of storms is and just how north and south it goes. And then we're still watching that little area of storms west of us that we were still keeping an eye on. This one redeveloping along the main frontal area that could produce some strong gusty winds once again. I'm not as confident it'll be severe as it moves into our area, but we'll keep an eye on that as it moves through. Just because, once again, we could see some gusty winds, and not just in the thunderstorms, but even outside the thunderstorms could see some gusty winds tonight. If you have any reports of pictures, anything like that, feel free to send them to us, wcyb.com/chime in. Let's get, Kristen, do you have power outages pulled up? Let's get a check of that maybe one more time as we prepare to kind of wrap up everything here. So let me know when you're ready to go, and we'll toss over to you. Before that,
I also, in the meantime, have a photo that we got from exit 14 in the Abingdon area on graphics right now, if you want to pull up graphics 3. This is just showing power lines down. We received this photo on Facebook. So power lines are down in this area. That is something you do not want to go towards. That's what Ricky was just talking about. Do not go near down power lines. This is in the Abingdon area. So we were just recently sent these photos.
Looks like I think that's probably a power pole there, maybe right near the stop sign. Looks like it either got snapped or maybe it looks like a power pole. I don't think it was a tree.
Yep, power lines snapped in half, lines in the roads and yards. Tree and tree limbs down everywhere.
And that's exit 14 in the Washington County, Virginia?
Yes.
Okay.
Area of Abingdon. Yes.
And again, thank you for sending us those photos. We appreciate them. And as many photos as you'd like to send us, we will take them.
Yes.
But of course, make sure you're safe, you know.
Yeah, you
probably better to be inside the house than out taking photos for us.
These photos are just if you can get them safely. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way to get any of these photos. We just got a law enforcement report. Thunderstorm wind damage, numerous trees down across the county. That's for Sullivan County, Tennessee. Ricky, you might have already read that one.
What the Weather Service has done, I think they've kind of put together, this is from law enforcement in Hawkins County. Mount Carmel law enforcement reporting widespread wind damage between Churchill and Mount Carmel, which lines up pretty well with that line of storms that we were tracking through the area earlier. In fact, I can put on a loop. Let's take graphics 1 back with me here. And I'm going to turn off all the warnings, get off those black lines too. And there's the entire line of storms as it moved through. Look how more intense it was. It was really squiggly too. And I know that's kind of a weird word for me to use, right? But squiggly is actually kind of important when it comes to setups like this, because when you get those little kinks in the line, those little S waves in this line, that's where you get those little circulations. That's what we think we got in Claiborne County and maybe Hancock County earlier, as a brief tornado may have touched down there. That whole entire line moved through, bowed out right there, basically right over Mount Carmel, right near my fiance's house. Knocked out power there in parts of Mount Carmel. Continued north and east through Sullivan County towards the airport, moved into Bristol, caused some wind damage there, and also caused some wind damage as the picture we just showed you from exit 14?
Exit 14, yeah.
In Washington County, Virginia. A lot of wind energy there as that line of storms kind of bowed out. In fact, let's see if I can slow this down and step it through. So there we go. There's the bowing. And that's what we talk about when we say this line's bowing out and it has the potential to produce strong gusty winds. That's the kind of damage you can expect and some of the winds you can expect when these storms do just that. Here is a live view of the radar once again, and you can notice the storms are quickly advancing away from us. They're now impacting Smith County. I want to zoom in closer here and talk a little bit about the areas that are still being impacted. Atkins, Rural Retreat, Sugar Grove, just south of Marion along Interstate 81, still a heavy batch of rain and some wind moving through there. Chilhowie, Glade Springs, Saltville area, though, things are calming down. Lebanon, things should be calming down as well. Maybe some briefly gusty winds, but the heaviest of the storms are advancing off towards the east. So, Sydney, I think we can pretty much, as we approach 8 o'clock, kind of call it quits here on Facebook, and we will kind of regroup everything, get ready for our 10 o'clock newscast, which is not that far away now, and get ready for our News 5 tonight at 11 as well. So I'll let you put any closing thoughts on here.
Yeah, that's very true. So definitely tune in tonight at 10 and 11. This definitely, we're just starting to get the reports in. So this is just the beginning. We'll have a lot of the reports by 10 and 11. We have News 5's Caleb Perney out there actually surveying the area and seeing what he can find. So send those along. You can head to our Facebook page, and if you have any photos, send them to wcyb.com/chime-in.
So for Christian, for Sydney, appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. We will see you tonight for News 5 on Fox at 10 and News 5 at 11.
Bye.